Welcome to my first ranking video on my channel, and today I'm gonna be ranking all 5 Rambo movies. Of course, including the new one that just came out, and I'm so excited to talk about this to all of you, and I want you all to know that this is my personal opinion of the ranking movies. If yours is different, that's fine. That's totally fine. So, yeah, and so I mean, first let me just say I love this franchise. I love action movies. Action is my #1 favorite genre of movies of all time. You really can't go wrong with action movies. And I mean, I know there's action movies that aren't like really good, but then there's also a lot of other action movies I still haven't seen. But I have seen all 5 of these Rambo movies, and so let's go ahead and get around to the list. No honorable mentions, obviously, because we're talking about all 5 of them, so it's impossible for there to be honorable mentions, because, you know. So, yeah. Well, here we go. My personal ranking of the Rambo movies from worst to best. So, here we go. Coming in number 5 is First Blood from 1982. This movie right here is a moderately enjoyable, entertaining movie. I do enjoy this movie at times. It can be fun to watch. Although, I know a lot of people say that this is the best Rambo movie of all time, but that is absolute bullshit. This is the complete opposite of the best Rambo movie of all time. This is the weakest Rambo movie of all time. Because, I mean, this does have kind of an interesting story, and I do know this movie's based off of a novel, but I don't really know much about it. But this is a movie that's fun to watch at times. This story is like good or something like that, like averagely good. But I know it starts off with John Rambo just getting arrested for no reason, and you know the department. The police department that he's taken to, you know, like a bunch of just crap, you know, policemen that are just you know jerks and all that, and then you know he escapes, and because you know the whole movie is about like you know it focuses on him trying to protect himself, like he's fighting for himself, nobody else but himself, and of course, if I was in the shoes, I would do the same thing. I mean, we would all have to do what we have to do to fight for ourselves in order to survive because of some assholes that just want to just treat us poorly, you know, and it's like. And then that's kind of really it. I mean, you do get to see like quick flashbacks of when he was in the Vietnam War, like as he was in the police station and all that, and then you know he breaks out and escapes, and that's really what this whole movie is, like pretty much. I mean, you do hear some things like in his past or whatever, and can be kind of interesting, but then like. But throughout the entire movie after that, like that's all it is just run from crazy policemen who like to arrest people for no reason because they're assholes, and that's really it. I mean, first let me just say, my favorite part of this entire movie, I do love this part, is when like in the forest, like you know during the cloudy day and all that, like he set like you know like when he's like wearing like a green like thing, you know, and like so yeah, he's setting up these traps, you know, for these crazy policemen like that are out there, and there's like you know this one policeman like disappears because he gets into a trap, and it's like, hey, wait, where'd you go, and then it's like, oh. We just lost 3 more men. 3 more men just went missing. It's like, so we gotta go help them. Come on, guys. Wait, where did you go? Oh, okay. Okay. Well, where'd you go? Well, partner, just you and me. We have to find them. Where did they go? And then finally, oh, okay, John Rambo, you got me. Like how can you not like that? It's amazing. It's just you know, like that's my favorite part of the entire movie. That's fun to watch. I love that scene. And then, like, one of them is, like, that cop that got impaled by that thing through his legs. It's like, oh, that's gotta hurt. But, like, but anyways, and then towards the end, he's, like, you know, blowing, you know, shit up, you know, taking a machine gun, like, blowing up vehicles, and then no one really dies, except for one police officer, who's a police sergeant. He falls off the helicopter who's trying to shoot Rambo with a you know, a sniper rifle. And then, I mean, this is a really well directed movie and very well shot. Everyone's performance in this movie is good, and Sylvester Stallone is also really good in this movie. But I mean, like I said, this movie is fun to watch, and then like I said, the booby trap thing was my favorite part of the entire movie, and then and then it's kind of nice watching him blowing that shit up at night, like towards the end of the movie, and and then so yeah, so that's fun to watch, and then like the military that's on him, but they don't really know anything. Like they're just following orders. They don't know that these policemen are just crazy and all that. But yeah, but then when you get to that scene where he's on the where he's in the tunnels when it gets to the night, and those rats and all that. That's when this movie actually starts to drag. Like I'm just like, oh, really? People say this is the best Rambo movie of all time. I'm just like, ugh. And it's even a lot of the script is just not this is really, but really this is not what we want in an action movie. And it does have an interesting story, but it's not like a really great, excellent story. Like a lot of people say it is. It really isn't great, but this, and then it's this movie can get. So yeah, this movie, like I said, it's entertaining, but it's also kind of bland, to be honest. It can get really bland, and like I said, when it gets towards the part tunnel where he's in the dirty tunnels, that's when it gets really boring. Until then, it picks up when he's blowing shit up towards the end of the movie. So yeah, I do enjoy Rambo: Last Blood. It's a moderately entertaining movie, but it's not one of the best action movies of all time, or even one of the best action movies of the 80s. Definitely not one of the best movies in general of all time. This movie is really overrated. I do enjoy it, but it's not as good as most people say it is. It's really so of course it's really overrated. I mean, I enjoy it, but it's just averagely enjoyable. That's really it. Despite what most people say, it's not one of the best movies of all time, or one of the best action movies of all time, or one of the best movies in general of the 80s, or best action movies of the 80s. And definitely not the best Rambo movie of all time. It is, without a doubt, the complete opposite. First Blood is the worst movie in the Rambo franchise. When I say worst, I don't mean it's actually bad, but it's the weakest. It's the weakest movie in the Rambo franchise. So I like it, but it's the weakest one in the franchise, and that's why it's on the bottom of this 5 list at number 5. So yeah, I enjoy it, but overrated and can get bland. So yeah, that's why it's number 5. Number 4 is Rambo: Last Blood. Was a great movie. I love this movie. Although it did come near my expectations. I wanted this to be my favorite one in the franchise, but didn't quite get there. But it is a great movie. I loved it. It came pretty much near my expectations, but didn't quite get there exactly. So, but I would say not enough to say that I was any disappointed at all. Maybe I was a tad bit, but either way, I love this movie. It is a great movie. It's by far one of the best movies of 2019. I know a lot of critics hate it, but it's doing well for the fans. And I'm a fan, not a critic, and I love these movies, and I do love this movie. I had a great time watching this in theaters with my dad. I mean, this did have a really great story, although I will say maybe you could still feel like it drags it a little bit, when nothing's really happening except he's going to find his niece and all that, and of course I'm not going to say everything because it'll contain spoilers, and this is not a review, it's a ranking list. So yeah, although even though I was fine with if the 4th one was going to be the last one, either way they went ahead and made this, and I'm glad they did. This was a great film, and but yeah, Sylvester Stallone was great in this movie, and then that bloody action sequences, it's just, oh my god, it's just awesome. And then too bad he actually barely uses a machine gun in this film. I will say that. Well, one point he does use an M16 for just a little bit, but usually it's a rifle or a shotgun, and then sets up traps or whatever. But anyways, this is a great movie. It did have a good story, but although then a lot of the action doesn't happen until towards the end or whatever. But but overall, for the most part, I do have to say this does have a great story, and I absolutely love it. This is a great movie. Didn't quite become my favorite one as I wanted it to be, but it was still a great movie. Like everyone's performance in this movie is great. Even the actor who plays the main villain, and then the actress who plays his niece, and like, so yeah, like everyone does a good job in this movie. And I will say, I can see maybe this doesn't feel exactly like a Rambo film as the other ones does, although in the first one, but I can see how this movie, some people can consider this not to be exactly quite a Rambo movie. I mean, it is. I mean, I can't see it is, but maybe it kind of feels maybe a little bit off or whatever. But but I don't know I don't know what much else to say except for the most part, this is a great movie. I love it. It's one of the best movies of this year so far, and not quite as good as the other Rambo sequels, but it is better than the first one for sure. And so it's on. So that's why it's my number 4 on this list. Number 3 is Rambo First Blood Part 2. This is one of the best and most underrated action movies of the 80s, and well, I would definitely say one of the best action movies of the 80s, and pretty much one of the best action movies of all time. It's definitely underrated, and I know this movie, well, according to Wikipedia, unless somebody edited it, because people can edit things on Wikipedia, but according to Wikipedia, as of now, this film right here actually won the Razzie Award for Worst Picture. And I'm just like, you people are just, ugh. But anyways, we're not talking about what those people think. I think this movie is awesome. I love this movie. It has a great story. People say it doesn't have much of a story. Well, I mean, it does have like a story or whatever. And like, this is like what we want in an action movie. Like, he's going, and like in this movie, he's fighting for his country. And then there's like that love interest with that Vietnamese woman. And then it's, kind of a shame that we don't see it, because if you see it, then you know why. But then otherwise, this movie is a great movie. Like, he's blowing up all these bad guys, Russian soldiers and Vietnamese soldiers, and like that scene where he goes, yeah, I'm coming to get you. So and then because of that one, I can't remember his name, but that one guy who ordered his his men to, like, the chopper to go back to base, like, man, you're an asshole. It's like, just gonna leave your men behind there. It's like, and then like that. Oh, what was his name? Like the colonel who we see in the first 3. I love that character. He's a great character. I would probably pretty much say that he's my second favorite character in the Rambo movies. I mean, my favorite character in the Rambo franchise is obviously John Rambo. I mean, how could he not be? But the colonel, who John Rambo is friends with, he's a really great and well written character. I love him. He's awesome. And I'm gonna go ahead and say this now, because I didn't say this when I talked about the first film, but like, this is what we want. Like, this is what we want in an action movie. It's like, that's what we want. Like actual villains, like bad guys doing like bad things, and like the main character is actually going and killing these bad guys, and like he's killing them, and like that's what we want in an action movie. We don't get that in the first film. In the first movie, all we get is him running from crazy policemen who just like to arrest people for no reason, and then basically that's really the whole movie. Like, he's just fighting for himself. I mean, like I said, we would do the same thing, fight for ourselves against crazy people, even policemen who are just bad, not great policemen, and all that. And then like that's really it. Like, he's just fighting for himself. In this one, he's fighting for his country. It really is better to fight for your country than it is to just to fight for yourself. That's pretty much one of the secondary reasons or whatever why this movie is much better than the first one. This has a great, excellent story, and then people say it's not, really isn't. I don't know why, and obviously people actually hate this movie, even when it came out, because like I said, it won the Razzie Award for Worst Picture. Which, if y'all hate it, that's fine, but I think this is an awesome, excellent movie. It is amazing. I would probably put this maybe honorable mentions good if I made my top 50 or top 100 favorite action movies of all time, but I'm not sure. But this is a great movie. I love it. Sylvester Stallone was, of course, great in this movie. I will say he's great in all 5 of them. and then like he's on the helicopter, and then like blowing up all the bad guys, just killing them all, and then he finally kills the main villain with that rocket launcher while he's in the attack helicopter, and it's awesome. And then he starts just shooting the machine gun at the very end, right in front of that asshole. It's like because like he like, no, I take or it was supposed to be another assignment. I take orders, and I just take orders like you do. Just like, and he's just like, it's like, but and then he, and he tells them to find more of their men out there, or he'll find him, because so, and I'm sure he does what he has to do, so that's good. But so yeah, but of course, if I were John Rambo, I would do the same thing. It's like, yeah, you better find the rest of our men, or you say your prayers. So yeah. I love this movie. It's awesome. This, like I said, First Blood is not one of the best action movies of the 80s. This movie, Rambo, First Blood Part 2, this is one of the best action movies of the 80s decade. I love this movie. It is fucking awesome. You can't go wrong with this, even if you hate it. So yeah, Rambo First Blood Part 2 is great, and so that's my number 3. Number 2 is Rambo 3. Now, it was a little hard for me to decide if I loved this movie a little bit more than the second one, or if I loved the second one more than this one. I decided to go with this one. This is also an awesome movie. Although, in this one, he's fighting for his friend, who happens to be the colonel who gets captured, and all those helicopter things. And this has awesome action sequences. And also, again, a great story, just like the first film did. Or I'm sorry, the second one, like the second film did, and so did the fifth one, and then so yeah, and then first film does have a interesting story. It's like fun to watch, but not a great story as all of them, and even so yeah. So Rambo 3 is an excellent movie, and this even also at least got nominated for the Razzie Award for Worst Picture, and it's like, ugh. People, Rambo 3 is better than Rambo 1 or First Blood or Rambo First Blood Part 1 or whatever you want to call it. This is better than the first one. This definitely has an outstanding story. Like, I will not lie. Then it's fun to watch that action sequence where those two helicopters, including the one with the main villain, and then killing those people, and then John Rambo at least kills that one attack helicopter, and then the helicopter with the main villain, returns to base after that, and then he has to go and rescue more POWs and all that, and it's just awesome. Like, Rambo 3 is just fucking amazing. I love this movie. I honestly really do have to say that this is better than, just a little bit better than the second one. Obviously, and I really do think it's better than number 5, although I love 5, and it's definitely better than number 1, which, like I said, is extremely overrated. Rambo 3 is amazing, and then even that actor who plays that colonel was really good, and also, rest in peace to that actor. You were really good in the first 3 Rambo movies. Rest in peace to you. And Sylvester Stallone, he's in his early 70s, and he's still doing these action stuff, But yeah, I love Rambo 3. It is amazing, one of my favorite action movies, and one of my favorite movies in general of the 80s decade. I don't know what much else to say, except it has great action sequences, the story is really good, and then there's in the beginning where he does the fist fight thing and all that, although maybe that can be, although even though that might not be my favorite part of the movie, it's still, I don't have any problem with it. But this is an excellent movie. I know people hate this movie and says, well, oh well, you're a loss. So, yeah, Rambo 3 is amazing, and it is, without a doubt, the second best Rambo movie of all time. And of course, that's obviously why it's on this list at number 2. Well, everyone, here we go. My number 1 favorite Rambo movie of all time. I'm sure you know what it is, because we haven't gotten to it since we haven't gotten to it yet till now. So here it is. My number 1 favorite Rambo movie of all time is Rambo 4 is the best Rambo movie of all time. Or Rambo. I call it Rambo 4 because that's what they should have called it, because people say Rambo, people might consider it to be mistaken for it to be the first one. But either way, I'm going to call it Rambo 4. I love this movie. Rambo 4 is definitely the best Rambo movie of all time. I mean, the fact that this is number one on this list, this one really shouldn't be this one shouldn't be really surprising for any of you. Like very surprising. Not even as surprising as it is that the first film is at the bottom of this list, because I'm sure, I mean, because we all agree that Rambo 4 is the best Rambo sequel of all time. So yeah, even I agree that Rambo 4 is the best Rambo sequel, but it is also my favorite Rambo movie, period, of all time. This had an excellent story about, and has good, characters, and then Julie Benz, I believe, is her name. She was really good in this movie, and then this movie, has so much blood and gore and violence and all that. It's just fucking awesome. My favorite part in this entire movie, and in fact, my favorite part in this entire franchise is in the last 20 minutes where he goes on that machine gun on that vehicle, and he's just killing all the bad guys, and and I gotta be honest, it's just so disturbing when that whole when the whole evil army goes and just kills everyone in the village, throws children in the fire, and then you would even just cut off civilians, hands, and then would be even raping women later on in the movie, and it's my God, you just cannot wait till all these fucking assholes pay for what they've done. Although I will say, at the end of the movie, there are some that just run away. But although it really would have been great if there was maybe even a U.S. military force, like the Marines or Army or whatever, that would come to help, and then all those enemy soldiers that don't die, they all get captured, and then as they're about to be taken away, all the American Marines or soldiers or whatever, when they put them on a helicopter to escort them to the U.S. so they can be sent to prison for the rest of their lives, they'd be just physically, grab them really angry and roughly, get your ass up here, get your ass up, and then just roughly and and meanly take them to the helicopter, it's just but either way, either way, basically, of course, in this movie, the good guys win, the bad guys lose, and most of the bad guys die, because you just see a few of them kind of run or whatever. And then also, I will say, another thing I kind of wish actually was in this movie is that we really don't know exactly why these enemy soldiers, would just go and just kill every innocent person, in a village or whatever, and then, some where they were, taken, and they were run away, and otherwise they'll shoot them, and then one of them will step on a mine, and then that civilian just blows up into pieces, and you can't bury them in a cemetery or whatever. And it's just I kind of wish I would know why they would have to do that, because either way, it's bad. But it would be nice to know why exactly they would do that. But either way, obviously, whatever reason, good reason, bad reason, no reason, they're still heartless motherfuckers who deserve to die and go to hell. So yeah, John Rambo, just shooting all those bad guys. That just makes you feel good. Just watching those horrible people just die, because the action is just amazing. And then even that one bomb that he sets up, kind of a little nuke, whatever, that just boom, and it kills bad guys, and that's just so awesome. This definitely has an excellent story. This has the best story in the Rambo movies of all time. And the villain, that is a villain. That is a villain. Even though you don't know much about him, he is a villain. All the Rambo villains and all the sequels are better than the main villain from the first one, because the main villain in First Blood is considered to be that police chief, the one that arrests him, and then that sheriff or whatever, he is honestly one of the weakest villains in a movie of all time. Sorry, that's my dog howling. He is one of the weakest. He's not an awful villain. He's not an awful villain Turl, played by John Travolta from Battlefield Earth. There's not one villain I've seen in a movie that's worse than Turl. Turl, played by John Travolta in Battlefield Earth, ugh. But still, the main villain in the first film is one of the weakest villains in a movie of all time. Not a horrible villain, obviously. I mean, yeah, somewhat a much better villain than Turl, but yeah, not an excellent villain. But the main villain in Rambo 4, like, he is a villain. Like I said, even though you don't know too much about him, I mean, you do hear that, like, he's in the sunglasses, and you see with, like, fire, like, through sunglasses, because of the reflection, and, like, it's just, and then, like, he just goes and have his men kill all these civilians and take Julie Benz. And then there's that actor, Paul, I don't know if how to pronounce his last name, but he's the guy from the first 3 seasons of 24, and he played Ryan Chappelle. He was really good in this movie, and everyone was really great in this movie, and Sylvester Stallone was amazing. This is the best Rambo movie of all time, and it's also one of the best action movies of the 2000s decade, and also one of the best action movies of all time, and also one of my personal favorite movies of all time. There was no way any of the other Rambo movies could be any better than this film, and of course, yes, especially not even the first Rambo movie. Rambo 4 should be everyone's favorite Rambo movie of all time. Not 5, not 3, not 2, and especially not 1. Especially not 1. Oh my god, that movie gets so much love more than it deserves. First Blood should be everyone's least favorite, and definitely Rambo 4. Rambo 4 should be every single person's favorite Rambo movie of all time. And like I said, Rambo 4 is one of my personal favorite movies of all time. Like, if Rambo 4 is not in my top 100 favorite movies of all time, then it is definitely in my honorable mentions list. And if I do make my favorite movies of all time, I'm sure I'll make 100. And although that'll probably take a long time, but when I do make my 100 favorites, if I do 100, which I probably will do, I'm definitely going to make a shit ton of honorable mentions because I love movies so much. And Rambo 4 is definitely a movie I love so much. It's one of the best movies of all time and one of the most underrated movies of all time. Love Rambo 4. It is the best Rambo movie of all time. Well, there you have it. Those are my ranking of the Rambo movies, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and comment below and tell me what is your personal rankings for the Rambo franchise. What is your least favorite? What is your most favorite? Or is there any that you think suck? Or are there any of them you love so much? Any of them or is there any of you that thinks that all 5 of them are actually top 5 most favorite movies of all time? Just comment below and tell me. I want to know what do you think of all the Rambo movies. So thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. And until next time, I will see y'all later. Peace. Oh, one more thing. Since, so I'm wearing Captain America, because, like, Captain America is like a soldier, and then John Rambo, he's also a soldier. He is a soldier. He's a patriot who serves for his country. And since that's what he is in the Rambo franchise, I'm talking about the Rambo franchise right here, I just want to wrap this video up with saying one thing. God bless America.